Good afternoon, class. We will continue on frustum of a cone or pyramid. We'll do more examples, starting with this one. The diagram here shows a flower vase whose circular base is parallel to its circular top. The circular base is parallel to its circular top. The following dimensions are given. The diameter for the top is 16 cm, diameter for the bottom 8 cm, the slant edge 30 cm. We are to calculate the curved surface area of the flower vase. As I told you, whenever you are working on frustum of a cone or pyramid, the first thing you are to do is to complete it into a full cone or pyramid, as the case may be. That is what you have here. You complete into a full cone, as in this case. Now, the reason is because you want to use similar triangles to get either your height or the size based on what you are told to calculate. If we are looking for curved surface area of a cone is parallel. We don't need height, so we need the slant height. This added cone, called the new slant height L, that will be calculated using your similar triangles. And if we use that, we will consider the bigger triangle. We'll have L plus 30 for this whole length over the radius, which is 8. That will be equal to, when you take the smaller triangle, L for this side, all over 4. L corresponds to L plus 30. 4 corresponds to 8. You cross multiply. The 4 will multiply this, the 8 will multiply L to have this. Open your brackets. The 4 will multiply L and 30 to give you 4L plus 130. Take your 4L to the right hand side. You have 4L to be 130. Divide through by 4 and L becomes 30 cm. After you've gotten the size you need, remember what I told you. The next thing is to get either the volume, if you are dealing with volume, of the added part and that of the whole, then you subtract. If it is curved surface area, you get the curved surface area of the added part and that of the whole and subtract. So here, since we are dealing with curved surface area, you get the curved surface area of the added part, which is parallel. For the added part, the radius is 4. The slant height is the L we calculated as 30. Therefore, you have pi times 4 times 30, which will give 120 pi cm squared. Leave it in pi. The curved surface area of the whole cone. The radius of the whole cone is 8. The slant height is L plus 30, which is 30 plus 30, and that is 60. So you say pi times 8 times 60, that's by using your parallel, and that will give us 480 pi cm squared. Thereafter, subtract them. You see the curved surface area of the whole minus the curved surface area of the added. That will give 360 pi. Put the value of your pi now, which is 22/7, because we're not told to give an answer in terms of pi. When you replace pi with 22/7, the curved surface area of the flower vase becomes 1131.43 cm squared. 1131.43 cm squared. And that is how you get the curved surface area of the flower vase for question 1. Question number 2. A lampshade is in the form of a frustum of a cone. The bottom radius is 3 times the top radius and the height is 14 cm. The volume of the lampshade is 763 cm cube. We are to calculate the bottom radius. We are also to find the area of cloth to cover the lampshade. This is how a lampshade looks like. It's like a bucket turned upside down so that the bottom is bigger than the top. According to the second sentence there, the radius of the bottom radius is 3 times the top. So if we represent the radius of the top by r, that of the bottom is 3r. The lampshade is 14 cm deep. Remember how we used to do it? You will add this one to complete into a full cone. Since they are talking of volume is given. Since volume is given, we need height. So you use your similar triangles. You say h for the smaller one over r for the smaller triangle. It's the same thing when you consider the bigger one. You say h plus 14 over 3r. Cross multiply, you will have 3rh equals r times h plus 14. Divide through by r, and you have this. R will cancel here, you'll be left with 3h. R will cancel this, R will be left with h plus 14. Collect your like terms, and you will have 2h to be 14. H is 7. When you divide through by 2, thereafter, since you are given the value for volume, use it to get the bottom radius by following this step. Volume of the added cone is 1 over 3 pi r square h. The radius of the added cone is our r that we don't know. And the height is the h we calculated as 7. Put those values here, 1 over 3 times 22 over 7 times r squared times 7. That gives you 7.333 r squared. Volume of the whole cone is 1 over 3 pi r square h. The radius of the whole cone is 3r. And the height is our h plus 14, which is 7 plus 14, and that is 21. When you continue the calculation, 3 squared is 9r squared. And this will give us, after multiplying everything and dividing by 21, you have 198 r squared. Then remember, after you've gotten those volumes, subtract them. Volume of the lampshade will be volume of the whole minus volume of the added part. Remember, in the question, they give us the volume of the lampshade as 763. Look at it here. The volume of the lampshade is 763, so it's known. That will help you to get your radius. So you replace the volume of the lampshade with 763. Then you have your volume for the whole cone minus volume of the added part. When you subtract this, you have 190.667 r squared. Divide through by 190.667, and you have your r squared to be 4.00, which is 4. Take the square root of both sides, r becomes 2. Now to the question asked, bottom radius is 3r. Therefore, you say 3 times 2 that you got, and the bottom radius is 6 cm. Second question, we are to get the area of cloth to cover the lampshade. The area of cloth to cover the lampshade is the same thing as calculating the curved surface area of your lampshade. Therefore, we use Pythagoras theorem to get the slant height for the smaller triangle and bigger triangle. Remember, the smaller triangle is h, which we calculated as 7. The small r, which is 2 that we calculated. Then this one, we use Pythagoras theorem to get it. That is L1 squared, 7 squared plus 2 squared, which will give 53. Take the square root of both sides, and L1 becomes 7.28 cm. Similarly, when you take the bigger triangle, the whole length is 7 plus 14, which is 21. The bottom radius is what you use, which is 6. Call the slanter L2. When you apply your Pythagoras theorem for that, that's L2 squared is 21 squared plus 6 squared. This will give 477. Take the square root of both sides, and L2 becomes 21.84 cm. Now, get the curved surface area of the added cone. That's pi RL 1. Your radius is 2. The slanter is 7.28 that you calculated here. That gives 45.76 cm squared. Curved surface area of the whole cone, pi RL squared. Your R is 6, the bottom radius. Your L is the L2, which is 21.84. That gives 411.84 cm squared. Then, that cloth that you need to cover the lampshade is the same thing as calculating the curved surface area of the lampshade, which is 411.84 for the whole minus 45.76 for the added part, and that will give you 366.08 cm squared. Thank you.